Hi, I'm Tracy Sharman, and welcome to CTE Techno, Know Before You Go. So a lot of people don't know what CTE classes are. And what CTE stands for is Career and Technical Education. And if you're older than 30, you may know it as Voc Ed. And vocational education, it's been revamped, and it's the new and improved Career and Technical Education Department. So what's awesome about our Career and Tech Ed department is that we have teachers from industry. So our teachers are professionals in the industry and in the courses that they teach. So today I'm joined by two Skyview teachers, Jenna Biggs and Lydia Brooks. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Jenna, can you tell us a little bit about what you teach at Skyview and a little bit about your background?
Sure. I've been at Skyview 7 years. I teach photography, both beginning and advanced photography at Skyview. I thought I was going to be a school counselor, and actually I had I'd been a photographer in the field for about 10 years, and when I had my daughter, I went back to school to be a school counselor, and then kind of found out about the CTE route, and decided that this would be a better fit. And so I'd had some experience as a substitute teacher, and I'd also been a para for a special education classroom and really enjoyed that experience.
Oh, wow.
About, 10 or 15 years ago. And so when I transitioned over, it was just a perfect fit of all of my passions of working with kids and doing photography and being creative. And so it's been awesome.
So to become a CTE teacher, you need 6,000 hours in your field, right?
That is correct.
And then you take additional courses to learn how to basically be a teacher. And you can do that within a year or two, and presto, you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lydia, how about yourself?
Well, I had a little bit less of a straightforward CTE transition because I had already gotten my master's in teaching and was really looking for middle school science positions.
Oh, wow.
But I kept seeing this photography position posted at Skyview, and I couldn't figure out why no one was snapping it up. And I finally just called HR and said, hey, I have experience in photography. I have a master's in teaching. Should I apply for this? And they said, yeah, go for it. And it's a CTE position. And that's when I really learned about what a CTE position was. And so I had enough experience as far as I worked at a nonprofit and did some graphic design, which is within the field, and I had done a tiny amount of freelancing. I really fell in love with photography in high school as well, so I wanted to pass that along to the next generation. So it was a good fit for the school at the time. I had a lot of teaching experience, and then I had that background of photography as well.
That's awesome. Our career and tech ed classes start in middle school. So in middle school, CTE classes are more about career exploration, and then in high school, we're hoping that those CTE courses turn into career preparation or post-secondary education, whatever pathway the student's going on. What opportunities are there locally for photography?
In terms of internships or
internships or careers, and not just photography, because I think you guys teach different things along with photography, or at least that department does.
Well, the field, even since I started teaching 10 years ago, the field is really changing. I would say that not many people get hired as standalone photographers anymore. I briefly taught journalism and ran the school newspaper, and what we found out during that time is that if you're working for any sort of media company, you're doing all of it. You're recording your own video, you're taking your own stills, you are writing your own copy, you are interviewing. And I think that's the case with a lot of these creative fields. You're expected to know a lot of skills under the same umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's so great about the program that we have here in Vancouver Public Schools, because we do have a career pathway for our students who want to learn all of the digital Adobe suite. Essentially, they can start with photography and advanced photography, go to graphic design, go to video production, and we actually have some room to grow that too, as we're getting, there's more positions out there that we are finding out information about, that's going to help with that career path.
If I'm a student in photography, what kind of tools do I get to play with in class?
Oh my God.
So many.
So many, yeah.
So many.
Well, our beginning photography students we have a class set of DSLR cameras, so digital single lens reflex. And for a lot of them, they've only ever shot photos on a phone, and so now they get to figure out all of the behind-the-scenes mechanics of how a camera works and how they can use those mechanics to get different creative results. So, and that's just in photo 1 and 2. And then if you if they continue on with the classes, they get access to some more fancy lenses. They can figure out the difference between a prime lens and a zoom lens, and they can test out all kinds of stuff like that. But we've got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we use industry standard Mac computers. We have the full Adobe suite. We have, tripods. We have studio lights. We Lydia right now is actually building an official photo studio for our students to use. So there's just so much we can offer that really, I feel like I feel so fortunate and lucky to be, and I feel like the kids feel that way too with working with this equipment.
And I know I've seen some Skyview, especially at Three Creeks Library, some of their graphic designs on display, which is pretty cool. I love seeing VPS stuff around town. You see some stuff, photos in the coffee shops, local coffee shops quite frequently. But right now, if you've been driving down by the downtown library, you may notice some huge pictures of students. And that's the Inside Out project. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Jenna?
Sure. Let's see. I think about 6 years ago, I was familiar with an artist that was working in Paris, and I knew that he had done some large-scale photos, and that he was trying to do a project that would allow anyone and everyone around the world to participate, and that really caught my eye. And so I did a little bit more research and figured out that they were looking for people around the country, around the world, to participate in what they call the People's Art Project. And essentially the idea is that he's only one person in one community, but that each and every one of us have a voice and a reason to put art into our community. And so he's asking for different folks to figure out, what is your mission? What is your what do you want to tell your community about participants that live, where you are? And so I thought this would be really cool at Skyview. And so we went through a whole process with a small team of students to try to get this on the actual building at Skyview that June. And after, a fairly decent process of going through everything, we actually got it approved, and since then it's just kind of evolved into something where the students are involved. They are actually managing the project, they're taking the photographs, they are doing the marketing, they are figuring out all the different pieces and parts that you would have to do to be a part of a huge international installation. And so it's just been really fun. It's been great to team up with Lydia too, as we have been building it every year, making it a little bit different.
Yeah, because you guys have moved from Skyview to where the pictures were on display now to the downtown library. And when we talk about pictures being on display, can you tell the audience how big they are?
They're 5 feet by 3 feet.
So it's pretty
they're
remarkable.
Huge. They're bigger than some of our students.
Yeah. For anybody who hasn't seen them, they're really striking, large format portraits shot in black and white. And so you can really see people's personality shine through.
Yeah, it's been awesome, and it's so perfect to have it at the downtown library. Not only are they been incredible partners with us, but they are truly inside out, because you can see the photographs from inside the building and as well as from the street, which is really cool, which was not something we could do, obviously, putting them on the side of a building. So that's been really neat. And this year we paired up with 2 other VPS schools, VSA, or Vancouver School of Arts and Academics, and Hudson's Bay High School. So that was really cool too.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about the Inside Out project. Are students nominated to have their portrait taken? Or I know that somewhere along the line it's about everyday heroes, or people that staff and other students consider heroes. What's the criteria?
Every year it's a little different.
Okay.
I mean, we do have a different theme. And so what we tend to do is we send out a Google form to our staff and our students, and we get them to nominate based on whatever criteria there is for that particular year.
Okay.
And so this year we did Everyday Heroes. We were kind of falling a little bit in line with VSAA had a big project this year that kind of went along that. And so we picked up on that, thought that was going to work well. And after having hundreds of nominations, we whittle it down to about 100, and we go from there. And then that's where our kids come in, and they sort of take over, and we have a team of students who are taking photos. And this year we did a documentary too, which is really cool.
Oh, where is that available to the public? Can that be seen somewhere?
Yes, I think it is actually. I think they might have. It's on YouTube. It's on the district YouTube channel.
Awesome. And that's 328 on Comcast. And I'm not sure what the district YouTube channel is, Shane, but we can put it up, so it'll be on display.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And that was something that was completely student generated.
Yes.
A student I've had for a couple of years, Irene Chavez Romero, took it upon herself to document the whole process, the behind the scenes process of making Inside Out. And then she also interviewed students about why they thought they had been chosen and why they were everyday heroes, and it was really sweet, the result was.
Yeah, I think and we're already thinking for next year, and we're already seeing how we can grow with more students and maybe doing some more mixed media kind of thing. So yet to be, a little bit of a surprise, I think, next year. So I'm looking forward to that too.
And is it the photography students that are taking the pictures, or is it the students that are nominated? Okay.
Photography students are taking the photos, they're organizing the photo shoots, and they're managing as well and trying to get the characters out of the students. And so it's a really great experience.
Yeah, it's a lot. They're learning project management, and they're learning how to work with models. So they have to wear a lot of hats in producing this project.
And the personality of each portrait that you see really comes out. Every student looks, they're unique and individual, and you can tell that they're an everyday hero. So I think the students and staff really captured that really well.
Yeah.
What have been some of your favorite themes that you've done over the years?
For Inside Out?
Yeah.
Everyday Heroes was good. Last year we did, oh gosh, I don't know if I remember. We like to do themes that highlight students who aren't necessarily getting recognition in other ways at school. So
good point.
Whatever the theme is that we pick, it's always about somebody who's showing character maybe in big ways, but also maybe in smaller ways that they're not necessarily recognized in other areas.
Would you be able to give us a few examples or an example of that? Maybe a student in particular?
Sure. I had a student this year that I nominated, and I guess what stuck out to me about this particular individual was that he's a great kid, he's a nice kid, he's a smart kid, but I felt like he was new to Skyview this last year. He was coming from Germany.
Oh, wow.
His parents were divorced. He was kind of having some turmoil at home, and he went out of his way to be so kind to a few members in the class that were really sort of having a hard time, and in a quiet way, not in a boastful way, and just was so I don't know, just so trying to get credit for it. And I just thought it was just really cool to see. And so he was one of the students that I nominated who I thought, boy, this kid really, sticks out to me. But we also have students like, we have a student this year who has been recognized quite a lot for doing her work around cancer. And she raised $250,000 for cancer research by herself as a student.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
So it is phenomenal. So there is a little bit of a mix, but for the most part, there are students that, like Lydia's saying, absolutely, very much overlooked, and maybe are silent leaders as well as being, the kids who are
silent leaders. We did that last year.
Yes, that's it. There we go. And we did one a few years ago that we actually did on the side of the building that I remember because I loved how it turned out visually. It was Kindness Matters. We did it, and we actually had an exclamation mark, and it said Skyview SHS 2000, 2016 or something. And what I remember so much about that particular project was the fact that the kid who got the exclamation mark was actually a student of Lydia and mine, who had been in a horrific car accident and who had really, through just amazing resilience, had come back to, to being very functional and just to be this amazing, have resilience and grit and all that great stuff. So it was cool to give him the exclamation mark that year, I remember. So that's one that sticks out, actually, thinking back on that.
And I was there last year when the students were there and their parents, when the installment first opened at the library, and they're taking their pictures in front of their portrait, and they're so proud, and you can tell how proud the parents are. So it's so awesome that these students that sometimes are silent leaders are recognized in that manner.
It's so funny because they know they're a part of this project, but until they show up for the reception,
they don't quite know.
They don't quite understand what they've signed up for. And they're usually very pleasantly surprised, I think.
Yeah. I was like, how many times are you going to have your photo on the side of a building? So take advantage of it, right?
That's awesome. What other things are you guys doing in photography throughout the school year?
Well, I've been working the last few years to redevelop my curriculum around a concept in art education called, or the acronym is TAB, Teaching for Artistic Behavior. And the whole concept is really around teaching the artistic thinking process, which is also called the design thinking process, which is something that people use in all sorts of different fields, any creative field, engineering, landscape design. It doesn't have to be just photography. Mm-hmm. So I really work hard to teach students those skills. At first, I show them, here's some inspirational photographers you could look at. The next step would be to design, plan a project. And so we really work through those steps to the point where at this point in the year, they can find their own inspiration, design their own projects, and are really pretty independent. And so what's cool about that is we both also teach AP photography. So students can take photography and get college credit. And AP, the AP 2D design, which is what the photography class is under the umbrella of, is changing quite a lot next year. And I'm noticing that the focus is now on the design thinking process. Mm-hmm. It's less about creating so many products and more about thinking like a designer, thinking like an artist.
All very transferable skills
yes.
that they're going to be able to use in anything they
exactly.
do. I was just on touring an adult facility, and they have, the director was telling me about the art therapy that they have for the adult home, and she was like, oh gosh, I thought this was such a joke, and then when we did it, I realized how powerful and impactful it was for their clients there, and that would be awesome to get the photography students in
oh my gosh.
In the elderly home and
really
maybe
cool.
partner up on a project with that. It re-energizes everybody involved, and they love to see new faces over there. Well, it's graduation. Summer's around the corner. Do you guys get summer off? Or are you doing any special projects over summer?
This is the time of year where I can focus on my own photography work.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, definitely. Just try to figure out, pick up my own camera again, get back into doing some projects, figure out some fun new projects for next year for the students. I did want to say real quickly before we leave that we are so proud that this year Skyview High School placed 3rd in the state photography competition, which was pretty awesome as well, which we've never placed that high before. So that was really cool. And was it 6 of our kids get to
yes.
be in, and they were actually selected, so there's only 33 students statewide that were selected in a rotating show that's going to be
going through.
Yeah, it starts up in Seattle.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that, and there was thousands of applicants.
Wow.
So that was really neat. So we're really pumped about that too.
And will the show make it down to Vancouver, or will we have to go elsewhere?
It's pretty Seattle-centric.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to come this far south.
Yeah.
Well, it's summer, so hopefully we can get up there and enjoy that.
Yeah.
But we can enjoy something right here in Vancouver, and that's the Inside Out installment at the Downtown Library. And how long will those pictures be up for?
They are up until, I believe, June 16th.
Okay. So definitely make your way down there and see what we're talking about. And I want to thank Jenna and Lydia for being here today. And that'll do it for CTE. Know Before You Go. Thank you.
Thank you so much.